Hi, everybody. It is Carol here, and it's noon, and it's time to get started. And I will do my best, as usual, to stick to 30 minutes. Today, we are talking about a really pretty exciting topic that can make a huge difference for your practice. And for any business, really, but it's how to easily create and use video to grow your weight loss practice and engage your patients. And I've provided an additional toolkit for success. I did put the link for just some of the simple tech things that you can get started really easy on a very low manageable budget. I put a little guide together for you and you can download it there. And of course, we always send out the replay afterwards. So you'll have the replay as well as the guide again in your email. So that'll be something that you'll be able to use. I want to just say hello and welcome you again. And of course, this is our third webinar in a series, and that is all thanks to HealthWise. And HealthWise has brought this to you, and I really appreciate them. Of course, we use their products in our store here, which is a very robust, store. And I know many of you utilize their products too. They are very tasty. I may have one of them for breakfast just about every day. So anyhow, it's something that is great, as we all know. So I want to thank them for bringing this to you. Our objectives for today really are to discuss various simple ways to create video that engages your patients, both your current patients and attracting future patients, to outline your very own low-cost toolkit for success. I've kind of done that in the guide for you, and to identify the best ways to get started. I'll actually share with you a process that I use all the time, that I use with practices, that I use in our own practice, and it works really pretty well. And it just continues to snowball and grow over time. For anyone, I noticed that on the registrations, there was a lot of really new people. So I'm excited. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Carol Clark. I'm actually here in Virginia, and I run a comprehensive medical surgical weight loss practice. We also have a full 1,500 square foot retail store, a 4,000 square foot fitness center. It's all under one roof here. And but my team here basically keeps everything running so smoothly. I actually spend most of my time working with other practices, and video is one of the things that I work on with practices all the time. And I think it's something that's really important and why we're here today. So I'm curious, a lot of you can put this in the chat if you want, or you can just think about it in your mind. But what do you think about video? A lot of people can say, yes, I just love it. And other people may say, no, I avoid it at all costs. Some people think it could be beneficial, and maybe that's why you're on this webinar. And yet, if you're here, it probably is something that you are interested, or you use and you found that it's been successful, or you want to just increase the results that you're getting. So we're going to get right to that. Some people ask, do I use video? Well, of course I do. And I only really share with practices what works. And it's really something that I have found to be super effective for practices, and I'm going to get into exactly why that is and also exactly how to create these. But video, as you know, anyone who's on social media, no matter where you are, video is something that's there. It's here to stay. And actually, social video gets shared 1,200% more often than text and images combined. So that's a current statistic from 2021, and it is something that's very true. One of the things that you'll also find with video, social video, is that now there's lots of apps coming out to add your words to sort of transcribe it on your video, because a lot of people are scrolling through without their sound on. So they may, that's something that's beneficial, that is going to continue to increase in terms of seeing the words on your videos. But video is here to stay, and it's something that is, you want to make sure that you are providing that. And we want to do it in a simple, cost-effective way. I've talked to so many practices that actually spend thousands of dollars on real professional videos. It just seems like exhausting almost, and takes a long time to get them created, to get them out there. We're going to talk about a methodology you can create and have something up today, and how to create it, how to optimize it, how to create backlinks, all that sort of thing. So it's really something that's very powerful. As you can tell, I'm very excited about it too. And statistically speaking, 89% of marketers say that video gives them a good return on investment. 83% say video helps them with lead generation. 87% say video increased traffic to their website. That's if you're adding the backlinks and the link to your site. But also people will find you and then organically search you out. 80% say video has increased their sales, and 95% plan to increase or maintain their video spend. That was actually at the end of 2020. This was created in November of 2020. This is when these statistics came out, but they are continuing. And I have to say, I've experienced every one of these statistics and believe in it firsthand. Some of the common barriers that you may feel to video might be, I don't have enough time to create them. It costs way too much. I'm not sure what to say. I don't like, this is what I get all the time, and I say it to myself all the time. I don't like the way I look, the way I sound. The tech is too hard. We can't figure it out. It won't work for me. I've tried it in the past and it didn't work. Or this is one that gets me and actually a lot of clinicians, and that's perfectionism, because we feel as if we're going to have something out there, it's going to be there for a long period of time, and we want to make sure that that's something that is perfect. And the reality is, most of the time it isn't perfect. People do tend to understand that, but we're going to get into some best practices. But we have to sometimes edit ourselves and try to keep ourselves from being too perfect or making sure that everything's perfect, because sometimes done is better than perfect. And the other thing is maybe you feel like it's a time waste because you feel as if no one is going to watch it. And of course, I'm going to share with you why video works well, and particularly for physicians and clinicians. So whether you're, a lot of people, no matter what your practice is, you can actually utilize this, and it works really well for anyone providing professional services. And the reason why is, first, it's education-based marketing. It's the easiest way for us to use our knowledge and our experience and share that in a very powerful way for people who are looking for exactly the services that you offer. It differentiates yourself, and it also provides value. It's valuable information because you're answering their questions. You're actually listening to your patients, listening to what it is that they have questions about. You're actually answering those. You're providing solid, medically based, scientifically based information, as well as anecdotal information and just experience that you have in terms of what works. And so it then positions you as the trusted resource that you are. You become the advisor. And when people start to think about and additional questions, they start to automatically have you in their mind if you're out there consistently. So it can be really effective for that. It's very powerful. They trust you, and it makes the yes in terms of purchasing your services or products, it makes the yes easier. And it also builds a relationship now and in the future. And thus it's attracting patients and also providing engagement with your patients. The other thing video does for you, a lot of times you can take your videos, you can turn them into books, you can actually utilize them and turn them into an online program that creates recurring revenue. There are so many different things you can do with your videos once you create them. And it's actually very, very helpful. So the thing is that when you're creating these videos, you always want to think about it from the patient's perspective and who you want to attract. It's not really to just share what you do, although that's a part of it, but it's a matter of really communicating, talking to them, and making sure they understand what the next steps are to work with you. I've mentioned this on some of the previous videos, but it really does, or the previous webinars, but it really does bode repeating because it is that important. The other thing is, sometimes when people market with videos, they're really looking for those people who are ready to buy this at right this minute. And who doesn't want to do that? But the thing about having your videos out there and utilizing education-based marketing is that for those people that are out there doing their own evaluation, and think about it, your patients do sometimes spontaneously buy, but most of them do their research and education. And they've been around the block a time or two in terms of weight loss. And so they want to make sure that they know what it is that you offer and trust you. So having these out there actually addresses really the more than 87% of people who are still researching versus those that are ready to buy. And of course, we want to be in front of them when it's time for them to buy. So it actually serves all those purposes. And it will only work if you actually create a succinct an impactful video. You want to keep them as short as possible that you can't when you're live. Unless you're live, you can then take questions and make it last longer, but you want to create a succinct and impactful video. People are in a hurry and they want to get all the information up front. So you always want to create that, make sure that you're addressing that, and you're also make sure it's a topic that is of interest to your patients, things that they're asking you about, things that you know that they may want to ask or should ask but aren't. And you want to make sure they're of good quality. And we're going to talk about the quality of your video and how to do that very easily in today's webinar. You also want to make sure that you share it on multiple platforms. We're going to talk about that. We spent a lot of time in the last video about how to leverage it. That's exactly what you're doing when you're sharing on multiple platforms. You're leveraging your content, you're leveraging your knowledge, your videos, and you're utilizing it in a variety of ways on multiple platforms. And then you also finally need to be consistent. So having a couple videos out there does not work well. You want to be consistent, have a schedule, and maximize your system in your practice. So what is a system that I use all the time, every single week, every month, and I also utilize specifically with physician practices? I use this when I go into a practice and we can do content for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. I'm about to leave town tomorrow to do a whole 6-month campaign of video with a doc. So you can do this actually very easily. So here are my step-by-step instructions, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper with each one of them and have some examples. So number one, you want to outline your content. And remember earlier, I said a lot of times people just aren't sure what to say. If you haven't downloaded one of my social media calendars, that has lots of different ideas, but really you could sit down with your team, those people that are meeting with your patients regularly, and you could outline either a theme for a month, or you could just outline the top questions that people are asking you. And I'm going to give you a couple suggestions for what you definitely should have out there. But first, you want to identify what are the topics that you're going to create. What topics do you want to talk about? What topics do you want to present on? And then what you want to do is either create a script. Every practitioner that I work with is different. Some of them say, just give me bullet points. I can talk from there because I do this every day. This can actually save time too for new patient orientation videos or webinars, that sort of thing. We can create a whole script for that, but you can have a script that's fully written out, that's on a teleprompter for you to read and not have to worry about, or bullet points if you want to just address it that way. Either way works really well. So you can do it either way. Like I say, sometimes I'll create the scripts for people, sometimes the bullet points, sometimes they know exactly what they want to say. But first of all, you can sit down with your team, outline your content, and create your script or your bullet points of what you want to consider or what you want to present on. The second step is to create a schedule. If you put it down in a schedule, it is much more likely to be done. And you can also, when I create schedules, it's not only the schedule, but it's exactly when we're going to be recording it, when it's going to be edited, if there's some editing to be done, when it's probably going to be transcribed, when it's going to be posted, where it's going to be posted, and who's going to be posting that. So it has a few moving parts and you can make it confusing, but if you have this all written down with deadlines, it makes it so easy to then just roll it out, like I say, over a period of time. If your content is created over a period of time, I've said this before, I know in other webinars, but if it's created for a period of time, then when you have those really cool things that happen in your office for the moment, you can then just fill in with that. But it creates a consistent way for you to be out there in front of people. So we want to create a schedule. The third thing is to create your assets, and your assets are your videos. And if you decide to turn them into blogs and any graphics with some quotes and that sort of thing, you can do that. You want to create your asset. And it depends on the project. Some people like to create their content 1 week ahead of time. I don't recommend just doing it on the fly daily because it ends up getting overwhelming or it doesn't get done at all. But you want to map that out and then create your schedule and then create your assets. And I like to personally, sometimes I'll batch them, especially if I'm working one-on-one with a practice, but we'll batch their content. So we'll be there one day, we'll pick a number of different settings. People will bring in more than one change of their shirt and or jewelry for women. We recommend minimal jewelry just so it's not interfering with your microphone and that sort of thing. But you want to create your assets. and edit those as necessary, making sure that they are all the way that you want them to look. And then you just post it according to the schedule that you've already created. Leverage it by sharing it on more than one platform and optimizing it by using the keywords. And those keywords I have actually have them specified for you in this presentation in just a bit. And then, of course, you also want to measure your results. So I'm going to just run through toward the end here. I'm going to share with you just if I was creating something, the steps that I would take to do it. And it's these steps, but I'll actually give you a specific example. So simply outline your content, do your scripts or bullet points, create a schedule, create your assets, consider batching it on one day or over a period of 2 days, depending on how much content you're creating, post it, leverage it, optimize it, and then measure your results. This works. It's not an overnight automatic, you're just a sensation out there, but it takes on legs of its own. It is amazing. And I see it work all the time. We've been doing this for years and years, and the practices, and actually that's taken a little while, but a lot of the practices in bariatric business models, with those I'm working with, they're actually seeing huge results, almost doubling their number of patients coming through the door in just the first few months of doing this. And it's all about that consistency, having it looking very professional, but not necessarily perfect, and getting it out there and following these 5 steps exactly. So that is what will really help. And I want to go over just a few simple tools of the trade, because as I mentioned, some of those barriers are, I'm not sure what equipment to use. I'm not sure how to arrange this. What are the best practices? How can I do this? So some of the simple tools of the trade, and these are things that can be done on a budget, literally, that can be, if you have an iPhone or a smartphone and you just add the other things, literally it's less than $150. So it's something that's pretty easy to do. The first thing is your phone. A smartphone works just fine as your camera. You can use that. If you want to use a fancy camera, you can. But I am telling you, people are doing this each and every day just with their iPhone or whatever their smartphone is. You can get a stand and a ring light to help. It holds it steady. It provides better lighting. I don't know if you hate the way you look on camera, it's going to be worse if you're in a room with a fluorescent light over your head that's creating this unnatural light and making you look a little bit worse. No matter, it just makes you not look as great at all. So a ring light is very helpful. I actually put links in your guide that you can download that actually shows some of them, and it's just a link so that you can purchase it. But it's things that I use or I've used with some of the practices that I work with. But just a phone or your camera and a stand and a ring light is what you can start with. So that's what you can do easily for a camera. They have great cameras in them. It's easy to operate, and it's a breeze. The second thing is your microphone. One of the things is people will watch video that's maybe not as good, but they will not listen to video that has terrible sound. So your microphone is really important. So I included some links for one that you can connect to your phone and you can actually mic yourself up. You can do this via a direct link. You can do it via a Bluetooth microphone, or one similar to what's shown here, which is a Yeti microphone. I utilize that more so for podcasts and that sort of thing, but you can utilize a Yeti too, and I have all that information in your guide as well. But the microphone is really important. People, like I say, will watch a video that might be substandard, but if the sound's not good, they will usually not watch any farther. So that microphone is really important. A teleprompter is optional. I have a kind of a full-blown teleprompter for when people want to use that. There are apps that you can put on your phone. Some of them are free that actually you can actually upload your script or your bullet points, and it will actually move on your phone. So if you're putting your phone sideways, it's to the left, so it's up where your camera is, and you can just utilize that. It looks very natural. You can do that on your phone, or like I say, I also have a regular teleprompter, and it actually moves with your voice. It recognizes the words that you're saying and moves you right through your script. So there are a few different options there. But a teleprompter is optional. Many people, believe it or not, will just have their camera there. They'll have their bullet points typed out in large enough print. They'll have that sort of taped nearby nearby, so it doesn't look like it's like they're looking at the camera, but they'll have their bullet points there, and they just use that to help guide them through. Other people are sort of a natural. They've done it for so long, they don't need bullet points at all. But for most people, especially clinicians, because we tend to have a little bit of a perfectionist side and we want to make sure we don't miss something, we will usually utilize a script or some sort of bullet points. But a teleprompter can be helpful for many, but it is optional. The other thing is to have an uncluttered background. And I know people become more tolerant of this with the pandemic and seeing people's backgrounds, but having an uncluttered background is something that is really important. If you're doing it at your practice, I do recommend something that is, there in your practice. So it's a nice, clean, exam room, or something that has a warm, the desk behind you, or a plant there, something that's simple and is something that is aesthetically pleasing, but nothing that is cluttered. So you want to make sure. Some physicians are still working primarily from home. You want to just make sure that your background is something that is nice and clean. This is just another example. If you have, when I go into practices, we'll oftentimes do them if they have a logo up behind their front desk, we'll oftentimes have that as part of it. You can do that with a green screen, but you do not have to get that technical. You can see here, we just have an iPad in our ring light and someone stands there, we can go through it all. So you can do it a variety of ways. I have a lot of different backgrounds, and usually you'll want to walk through your practice and find something that looks really great, that's uncluttered, that has a great background, and then decide that you're going to film there. If you're going to batch your content, just pick out one or two settings, or you don't even have to do that. You can do them all in one setting if that works better for you. So you want to make sure that you do that. The next thing is to have simple clothing on. You don't want to have really busy prints. It's okay if you have a neutral background, that can work. But for the most part, if you're batching and you want to bring a few different shirts that are solid color, something that complements your skin tone, something that is just professional looking. For women in particular, you want to make sure you don't have dangly earrings or noisy jewelry on. That will interfere with your microphone. So you want to make sure that you have simple clothing, not much in the way of jewelry and that sort of thing, and that will work fine. You can be standing if you're comfortable. You can be sitting down if you're more comfortable. Just make sure that you're checking your camera to make sure what your background is looking like and that it's including what you want. Nothing worse than if you're not planning on editing, to have something over in the corner that you didn't mean to have there, and then it's there for your video. Greenery always works well. A lamp behind you, something that's simple, or even in an exam room, something, educational material, something behind you, but something very simple, and then obviously simple clothing. The sixth element is enthusiasm. People want to listen to something that's enthusiastic. They want to feel your energy. They want to feel your confidence in what it is that you're talking about. So enthusiasm is something that is really critical. And a lot of times you'll start out and you'll think, I'm not going to keep doing this because I don't like it. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. I just don't like any part of it. The more you do video, the better you get at it. Here at our practice, I used to be the person always behind the camera. I was helping create the scripts. I was the one creating the video. We'd edit it then and everything. And so I love that. I was behind the scenes. And now I'm out in front of the camera a lot doing video. I do a podcast and I do a lot of different things on video. And I like it now. I actually really love it. But if you would have talked to me earlier, or if you go to my YouTube channel and check out early videos, you'll probably be like, huh, surprised that girl even continued, because they're just not that good. The more you do them, the better you will get. And I am a firm believer that. And sometimes we'll work with practitioners and they start out hating it. Before you know it, they are just doing it all the time and feeling far more comfortable. They'll be trying to get I was just talking with a physician last week. She's got so many different ideas. It's like, how are we harnessing these all? So we have her Google Doc or on her phone, wherever you are, keeping all your ideas so that then when you get in front of the camera, you can do a bunch of them at once and then have enough content worked out. So it's really something that's exciting. The seventh item is simple video editing tools or skills. This is something you can teach yourself. We tend to use Camtasia here, and it's something that takes a little while to get used to, but it's great for a really more extensive video editing, really adding different components to it. lower thirds, any of and all of that. So we like to use that, but there are also plenty of other video editing tools that you can use right on your phone. iMovie is a good one. If you are uploading your videos, depending where you're storing them, we use Vimeo to storage. You can also do some editing there. There are lots of handy editing tools that you can use on your phone. Like I say, we will record ours, and I'll tell you the process when we get to that section there. But you can do it on your phone. You can do it on a actual application. It doesn't matter. Or you can decide, I'm not going to edit at all. And that's okay. You just have to be careful to make sure that as you're doing your video, you are very crisp at the beginning. You may want, with your ring light and where your phone is, something that's they do make remotes so that you can start your video and stop your video. You probably want something like that if you're not planning on doing any editing at all. Although I do like to put the lower third on there so they know your name and just recognize your logo and your website, if applicable. So it's something that's easy enough to learn and easy enough to get going. It's not something the practitioner necessarily has to do. They can utilize one of their team members, and it works out really well. And the next thing you want is an established website and social media channels so that people can find it on your website. They can find all your social media channels and be able to access your data or your videos very easily. So your videos, your blogs. So we have a little Doc Weight Loss TV. We do a YouTube. We have a blog. We post to Twitter, to Facebook. We have a podcast, couple of them. And we also utilize Pinterest. So we do utilize that on many social media channels. If I was just going to use a couple, I would use YouTube, of course, number one for video, and I would optimize everything so people can find you. I would use something on my website, which would be typically a blog, so that you can link back to that. And then I actually like Instagram and Facebook. I almost like Instagram better nowadays, because all the algorithms keep changing. But you can actually build quite a following. We have just started. One of my employees has started testing TikTok. We are not really TikTok people. I have never been a big fan of it, but she actually just posted a couple things on there, and we've actually had new patients coming through the door because of it. So I'll probably play around with that, but I never really recommend things to other practices until I've done it myself and I know that it works. And then the ninth thing is someone to post, optimize, share, and monitor the results of your videos and all of your posts. And a lot of times this is where you may outsource. And we talked in the last webinar, but when you are outsourcing, make sure they understand you and what it is you're about and that the content relates to you. Most often, almost every practice I work with, not all of them, some will outsource us, but most all of them have someone in-house who is skilled at social media, and they just need a little bit of guidance. And so we'll train them so that they can post things, optimize, share it, make sure that they're using the right keywords, make sure that they're linking back, and monitor the results on a regular basis. And that's how you know that you're getting a good return on investment. Does it happen overnight? No, I'd be lying if I said it did. But you will see traction, and then it starts to snowball, and it really does tend to work well over time. And you do want to, like I say, monitor your statistics, see what's working the best, and then you may want to lean into that topic. If you did a topic on menopause and you notice that had the most views, then of course you want to create more content around menopause, obviously, especially if those are the type of patients that you like to work with. So there's lots of different caveats to what content you create, but you want to make sure that you do have someone to post, optimize, share, and monitor your results without breaking the bank. And you can typically, here we have one of our coaches. She's one of our clinicians, but she actually does all of our social media. She can do it. We can create, she can edit, we can get it all out there. She really utilizes her schedule and just does that over a 2-hour period once a week. And you can literally get it down to that once you set up a system to make sure that that's happening. The other thing is I want to remind you to not forget to download your Getting Started with Video Toolkit for Success. I put the link in the chat so that you can have access to that. So please go in the chat and download that. That has a lot of the different sources. If you have questions, you can always reach out to me and I'm happy to share that. But I wanted to at least have something so that you can get going on that. Now, how are you going to get your videos seen? Because there's nothing worse than being a clinician or being someone who creates videos that you just love, but then they just sit out there and you feel like you're talking to no one and they are going nowhere. This is very, very frustrating. And there is a method to getting your videos seen. The first thing is to have an attractive thumbnail. The thumbnail is the first impression. So when you go to a video, the thumbnail that may be selected from wherever you're posting it is one of you with a terrible expression on your face. We usually create a graphic. We'll create that graphic in Canva, and in your little download, I did create some some helpful hints for how to create great graphics, some resources for you. You want that thumbnail to reflect exactly what the title is of your topic, have a picture of who's presenting, and make sure that that is very professional, and that's their first impression. The next thing is your title. It needs to be very specific, and I recommend the keywords be included in that. So if you're doing a title, you'll want to make sure that it's really specific. So for example, it might be Dr. whatever your name is, or whatever your top 7 weight loss tips, or top 5 weight loss tips, or your name or the name of your practice, or your top 5 or 7 weight loss mistakes. You may want to, you can also specifically talk about, if you are an endocrinologist and you do weight loss, but it's also based on hormones, you want to make sure that hormone is in there, menopause. Those specific names need to be in your title, and your title needs to be catchy. It needs to be something that doesn't sound like a drudgery. So, if I said, Carol's top 50 tips for something, that sounds like I'm not going to have time to go through 50 tips. You've got to keep it to less than 7 or less usually is what I do. But you also want to make sure it's a topic that they're asking about, that people are interested in, and you need to make sure that, that it has a little bit of enticement to it. You can do this in, it might be what, Carol avoid this if you want a successful weight loss practice. Avoid this if you want to have long-term weight loss results. So you can turn it around and flip it around a lot of different ways. So we'll create usually a thumbnail, a very specific title, a description of what your video includes. This needs to be very thorough. Whatever you're putting in your description, you want to include your website, phone number, and a call to action, how they can move forward with you. Use keywords there. Describe what it is that you're talking about. It's another way to have search engines find your video is through your title and your description. And then, so when people are searching, it'll help you be found. So keywords are very important to have in there. The other thing is tags, also known as metadata or keyword phrases. You'll want to make sure that you include those. And I'm going to go over here the key ones that you should have for weight loss. And then you also want to repurpose. If you have a great video that did well 3 years ago, but you haven't turned it into a blog, turn it into a blog and put it on your website. Repurpose that. You need to make sure that you're using your blog. If you have a podcast, they're a lot of fun to do. They are work, but they're a great way to engage your patients. If you send out a weekly newsletter, I know I create them for Bariatric Business Boss members every single week. You want to make sure you have your content in there, linked to your video, so people are going to be finding them. Use it in your email marketing, any other platforms that you have, and your daily patient education. Like I say, once these videos are created, you can actually turn it into a book. You can turn it into a patient guide. You can turn it into a freebie for people to opt in and give you their email. You can use it as an online membership program where people can put it into an entire weight loss program online. You can use it for lots of different repurposed ways. So, but really important, make sure your first impression is great with your thumbnail. Your title is very specific. You have a thorough description that includes your website, how they can reach out to you, as well as keyword phrases or your metadata, which is what search engines are looking for, and then repurpose it as much as possible. So that will get your videos out there. It's a rare person who has a viral video right away. So you've got to make sure that you are creating it in these ways. So for example, when I went back and I talked about those steps, so we talked about the 5 different step-by-step instructions. Let's walk through that. So here's a method that I know works. I use it every day in our practice here. I use it for Weight Loss Practice Builder. I use it with practices. But let's pick a topic. So let's say it is Dr. Smith's top 5 weight loss mistakes. So we pick out what our content's going to be. Then I outline my content. I either write a script for that or I just put bullet points of what those top 5 things are. And that's just an example. And then I create, and I would probably have this in a number of other content, but I would create a schedule. When am I going to post this? So once I know when I want to post it, I can then go ahead and create my asset. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to use the equipment that we just talked about, and I'm going to record my video. And I'm going to make sure that I have a clean background, that I don't have a lot of jewelry on. That's going to be noisy. I'm going to make sure that I have a mic on. I'm going to make sure that I have a shirt or a top, or depending if I'm standing or sitting, making sure it's something that's professional, that is not too busy, that's going to be distracting. I'm going to go ahead and record that. And if I want to, I'm going to go ahead and edit it. The way we do it typically is we will upload our videos to Vimeo, which is a storage site for video. And then we'll download it into Camtasia. We do all of our edits. And we can even add a bumper on the beginning and the end if it's like a podcast, or if there's some music or something you want to add. I add a lower third. I add our website logo and anything else that I want to. Now, some days we'll put in some closed caption because people like that. So we edit it. And then once we're done editing it, we save it and we upload it to our we've created our asset, and then we want to post it. So we will typically take our video. This is a process that I know works. We use it all the time. And we upload it to our YouTube channel. And if you don't have a YouTube channel, they're easy enough to create. Reach out to me if you need help with that, but you have your YouTube channel. We upload the video there. We make sure that YouTube walks you right through how to add keywords. And we even have tutorials in Barrier Business Boss on how to do every one of these things. But you post it and you put your title. When you edit it, you put, of course, your thumbnail. You have your thumbnail, you have your title, you have your description, you have your keywords, you have your logo, your website, you have your phone number, call to action, meaning like how to work with you, or call us if you want more information. If you're ready to get started, reach out to us. You can link them to a contact page, whatever you want. And then from there, we will take that video and we will leverage it on every platform that we have. So some it's just a link for the video. Some of it is taking that video and transcribing it into a blog. If you already had your script, your blog's pretty much written, and we upload that to our website. And then we create a graphic with a quote that's important of something that I said in the video. And we use that quote. We link back to our website, to that blog. And then what happens is I'm building backlinks to my website, and it just increases my entire searchability everywhere. If I get a positive comment on it, we may take that. We'll share that because it's already public. We then watch our Google Analytics. We watch our YouTube Analytics. We watch all of that. We see what's getting the most engagement. And then we will tend to lean into that particular content, and we will do more of that. And we just make sure that we are consistent. So on average, we'll be posting one video a week, but that video turns into a blog, a graphic, and then we also intersperse recipes and lots of different things from the social media calendar and all of that in between times. So it puts you out there, so by the time patients find you, they just know what a wealth of knowledge you are. They love your content. They feel like they know you already. And it is, it's pretty amazing. And like I share this only because I know it works. Now, when you're selecting keywords, I promised that I would share this with you. You want to make sure that you put not your name, but obviously I make sure I put, Carol Clark, you put Dr. whatever the name is up there, your practice name. You want to make sure weight loss is in there. We want to make sure for here, we would say weight loss. We'd have weight loss Hampton Roads, weight loss Virginia, weight loss Newport News, weight loss Hampton. We put in all these different cities and regions around us. People are searching for how can I lose weight fast? We might put that in there. We might put weight loss surgery or sleeve, depending on the topic, weight loss surgery, sleeve gastrectomy, gastric bypass, depending on what it is that you're talking about. We will also oftentimes add our region after that: weight loss surgery, Hampton Roads, weight loss surgery, Virginia, sleeve gastrectomy. We do the same thing with that, lose belly fat. And if you want to, you can just go to google.com and type in something with weight loss. It'll actually populate for you what are the keywords that Google has actually already compiled for you for what people are searching for, and then just use those keywords. We'll typically just use these, and once you're in like your blog, when you're posting it there, or your YouTube channel, it'll start to remember. Even LinkedIn, it'll remember the ones that you use commonly, and you'll just have to just put them right in there. It's actually very quick. So you want to use those keywords, not only adding there, you can use them as hashtags on certain platforms. Some platforms like keywords, some like hashtags, but they're very similar. And the other thing is you can just make sure that you include some of those keywords in your description of your video. And here's an example. Here's one of our videos, and you can see our typical keywords here. You see sleeve gastrectomy, weight loss surgery, surgical weight loss, bariatric surgery, Dr. Thomas W. Clark, medical tourism, travel surgery, because we have people who travel here for surgery. So we have all these standard ones that we use, and it just increases the likelihood of our videos being seen whenever somebody is searching for those keywords. So it is really important. The other thing is you want to make sure, like here, you can see our YouTube channel. We've had this up. We have probably over 300 or so. We've got, over 1,000 subscribers. That means everyone who subscribes gets notified every week when we put up a new video. We also have, after you start putting videos up, you can actually customize your channel, and you can have a sort of like playlist, so to speak. So we divide ours into medical weight loss, surgical weight loss, fitness, nutritional products. We also do testimonials or success stories. We have a number of different channels. So we include all those, and then you can actually track the results. So that's, it's all right there for you. In YouTube, it's a great search engine. And actually, so many physicians and practitioners are spending money on Facebook ads. There's actually a lot. You don't even have to do an ad, but the ads here are much more cost effective, and that sort of thing. So you can see down there some of the what I call the thumbnail keys to successful weight loss after weight loss surgery, medical tourism for weight loss, mentally preparing for weight loss surgery. So we make sure that people can clearly understand what it is that is there. You can then look at your sources here, right in YouTube. Where's everything coming from? You can see here it shows you how many views were on a particular video, how long they were watching it, the average duration, how many impressions, how many click-throughs. You can get great statistics here. So we like to track that and then do more of the topics that people that are resonating with people. And it's a beautiful thing. You can also see total views. Our channel got 3,000 views in the last 28 days when we ran this test. So it's one of those things that is, you can see exactly how many views you're getting. And when I shared with you earlier how to get your videos viewed, that is exactly what we do. So I know it works. So that's a great thing that you could be doing. So you can do all your analytics. Remember, I said measure and then go from there. I know it was 12:40, so I'm a little bit over. So I know I have gone over just a little bit here, but I would love to, let's see. I would love to take any questions that anyone may have. And I see somebody asked about the link. I just reposted the link to the guide in the chat. So you can just click on the chat and you'll see that link right there you can go to. So if somebody has a question about that, you can go ahead and access that. But if anyone has any questions, I know I went through a lot of information quickly. Let me just go back here and see. But if you have any questions, not yell them, but put them in the chat and I will address those right away. And, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Very good. So let's see. I want to make sure I've got some. Here's just contact information. If anyone needs help or wants to reach out to me, that's my phone number, email address, website. I want to thank HealthWise again. If you are not using their products in your retail section of your practice, you need to. They're really very great in terms of their nutritional content. They have tons of lower carb options and always taste great. Because as you know, I always recommend taste testing everything. So we use a lot of their products and we just love them. So anyhow, I hope that's been helpful. And if anyone else, oh, you're welcome. If anyone else has questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, we are going to let you get back to your day. And I appreciate your time. I know you're all very busy. And in the meantime, take care.